Who or what has been the biggest surprise for the Blackhawks this year?
There has been a lot of surprises this season early on for the Blackhawks. I think there's a lot that maybe we thought might happen, but not to the degree that it has. For me, the biggest one that I think I wasn't expecting is how quickly Jeff Blashill came in, took control, and the response that this group had to him coming in and implementing the expectations, the style that he has, and just really just immediately feeling like the bar was raised for how things are going to operate and how he was going to go about his business as head coach. And the team, as we talked to a lot of the guys in training camp, like they were overjoyed to talk about how much they liked how Blashill and his coaching staff came in and were running practices, how they were communicating, the intensity, the just the style that he has of coaching and laying out very clear expectations. And I think the group responded really well. And I would like to think that is part of what has gotten them off to a better than expected start to this season. I know in the off season we were talking a lot about coaches we thought we would want or that would make the most sense for a rebuilding team. But really, Jeff Blashill came in as one of the more experienced guys that was available on the market or open to, a head coaching opportunity, and came into it with the right mindset of, I'm not coming in here to win right away. I'm coming in here to instill winning. And I think he's early on gotten off to a really good start with that.
That's obviously a really good pick. He has been really good. And just think back to our first few years doing the show through, Luke Richardson and Anders Sorensen, and how many times did we hear the leadership on this team say, we need to establish a culture. We need to establish a culture. It got to that point where we heard it so much that we just started rolling our eyes about it. Like, okay, you know what? And I have seen recently, somehow it came back in my feed, last year's game against Utah where they gave up 95 shot attempts. We were yelling about how their culture is that they're bad and that they suck. In a very short amount of time, Jeff Blashill was able to come in here and instill a culture that was in place the first game of the year, a work ethic and a style of play and a accountability from day one. So it was almost as if the players really wanted it, but they hadn't really been guided towards a culture from the previous coaches they've had. So he comes in and does it right away. And you mentioned too, is they're like going through the list, and I think we all got really hung up on David Carl, and then there started to seem like there was a chance of that happening because Frank Saravalli was talking about it, and they were definitely talking to him, and he decided to stay in Denver. And I think that initial letdown was, all right, well, Mike Sullivan's gone, so that's not going to happen. David Carl's not going to happen, so now it's whatever. And it was whoever it was going to be a disappointment. But the more work we did learning about Jeff Blashill, the more it made a lot of sense, the more it checked a lot of boxes. And Kyle Davidson now probably pointing and laughing at all of us because so far things have worked out really well with Jeff Blashill. And look, there's a ways to go. This team is far from perfect, but are they playing above expectations? Yes. Have they more often than not been competitive? Yes. And I think that's something we maybe didn't see coming into the season where, hey, by the first week in November, you're going to feel pretty good. You're going to be realistically talking about competing for a playoff spot. Who knows how long it lasts, but I would not have predicted that. If I was going to think anything would have happened, it would have been the first month would be rough as they learn a new system, learn a new coach, and then as things got implemented, as they got more comfortable, then we would see a bit of a burst from the Hawks, and they would start to look better in maybe the second, third of the season or something, but they've started off really solid. So the hope is they can go from really solid to good,
to even better.
That would be the great step they could take. So Jeff Blashill is a great answer from you. I'm going to go with Wyatt Kaiser. And we talk about conversations we had in the offseason. This is a guy who basically waited until the day before training camp to sign a contract. And we were all kind of like, he looked fine when he played. I don't know who he is really under the impression of who he is or whatever, or what he thinks that he's proven. And he hasn't really proven too much. And he's come out and been really, like, since day one, the Hawks' best defenseman. Most reliable. Wyatt Kaiser has gotten to the point now where when he's on the ice, I don't worry about him at all. And his steady play has really helped Artem Levshunov kind of settle down, get his feet under him, and know that if he makes a mistake, Kaiser's going to be there to bail him out. And I think at the same time, Wyatt Kaiser benefits from playing with a guy as talented as Levshunov. But Kaiser has just come in with this, okay, I got my contract. It's probably not what I wanted. And now I'm going to show these guys when this deal's over, they're going to have to pay me. I'm going to quickly become one of their most reliable, well-rounded, solid defensemen, the Mr. Do-Everything, and look great doing it. And he has. There's been, maybe you can count on one hand, plays of his that maybe he would want back. But more often than not, he has been outstanding. Yeah. And not only defensively. The numbers aren't really there for him production-wise, but breakout passes and the ability to move the puck side to side, and he's really kind of done it all aside from produce points-wise. But that's not what they're looking for from Wyatt Kaiser. He has been dynamite, and you talk about found money. That's what you've got in Wyatt Kaiser. I think we've been talking for years about Korchinski and Del Mastro and Allen. He's passed all those guys.
Oh yeah.
And now there's time for the. Now they were probably thinking, well, by now I'll be in the NHL, and they're not. And Wyatt Kaiser's a big part of why not, because he's been so good and so dependable. I don't know. It's hard to find a path for all three of those guys and Rockford to the NHL because of how good he's been.
There's a difference between the way that, say, a Matt Grzelcyk has been playing, where it's just he's doing the right things, he's quiet, he's not killing you. But then you look at Wyatt Kaiser, points wise, quiet, but everything that he's doing, those small details of the game in transition, being able to, like you mentioned with Levshunov, help teammates feel more comfortable, make up ground for teammates. There was a play in the game on Monday night, I believe it was, where he came from the right side of the ice. No, he came from the left side of the ice, covered for Connor Murphy, who was not out of position technically, but was the gap he had on the attacking forward was way too much space. Kaiser closed the gap to force that player to get rid of the puck, basically, and then recovered back and forced another tough play on the guy that he was supposed to be covering anyways. So, the ability to make not only decisions like that, but also have the physical capabilities and skill to make both of those plays in one go, that is such a crazy quality that I would have never guessed even last year that Wyatt Kaiser would turn into a defenseman that you would say he can make that kind of play.
Yeah.
And that is, like you said, found money, a guy that was a third-round pick to become one of your most reliable defensemen. That's a pretty good as quickly as he did.
Well, and as we were talking about his contract, it was, okay, well, he's been pretty good, but what is it that he does really well? What he does really well is everything. Mm-hmm. And that's, that's kind of the argument when that contract comes up. That's going to be the argument he has is, what have I done? What have you asked me to do that I haven't been able to do?
Right.
And I don't know what Kyle Davidson's going to be able to say to him. He's been great. Jeff Blashill's been great. Let's hope it continues for the next few months here.
That'd be good.